Well, for the last 12 years, Nick Saban has built his Alabama dynasty on the hallowed grounds of this football palace known as Bryant-Denny Stadium. And today in Tuscaloosa, the quest for another title continues. And it was 50 years ago this weekend in a very small West Virginia town on a field that was made out of mud that a 17-year-old Nick Saban quarterbacked the Monaga high school football team to the Class A state championship, capping off an undefeated season in which the Lions outscored their opponents by over 400 points. Now, many of his former teammates say that the attributes Saban exhibited in high school are exactly like the ones that have made him the most successful coach in college football today. A strict disciplinarian with no tolerance for complacency who demands improvement with every step. Well, those traits were on display even more than ever in the week leading up to taking on the Citadel. And that process, well, it continues today. You're watching SEC Network Football presented by Allstate. Dave Neal alongside former SEC Championship quarterback DJ Shockley. And DJ, yeah, the Citadel is here, an FCS team. But this has not been an easy week for the Tide.
Yeah, it hasn't because of who you're facing. And the biggest enemy for Nick Saban and his team is complacency. And that's why he wanted to stress this week, you can't come into this ballgame being complacent or this team will hurt you. And that's the biggest thing that they have to overcome today in this ballgame.
Citadel wins the toss. They accept. They want the football, so they will have it first this afternoon on what is a gorgeous day here on the capstone. Well, this is an option team. Citadel comes in here after back-to-back victories, and Brandon Rainey takes the reins. The sophomore out of Acworth, Georgia, has had successful games. This is only his third start, but he has been putting on a show. Rushed for over 400 yards in his last two games.
Very, very, I want to say explosive player and at times this season, especially in the second half, and he has to have a big game today if he's going to give this Citadel team a chance to move the football and score points.
So from the 25-yard line, the Citadel will start things off. Pickup of 4 by Lorenzo Ward, but there is Rainey, who is in his first start. Had a 43-yard touchdown run on the opening possession. Took over the job from Jordan Black, the junior quarterback, who we will see a little bit of today. But this is Brandon Rainey's show. He's a guy that came in as a quarterback, but last year they moved him to fullback. And at the beginning of this year, they put him back in the quarterback spot. Here's that option keeper from Rainey. We'll pick up 3 more. So this is the dynamic that the Citadel wants. Keep it third and short.
Absolutely. And this is the first 2 plays. Couldn't have gone better for the Citadel because now they have a manageable situation on third down. And this is where they want to be. 3rd and 3 or less, 3rd and 4 or less is the stretch. But right now, it gives them opportunity to pick up a first down. And Alabama has to come up with a stop.
Listen, their last 2 games, they rushed for 421 yards against Western Carolina versus Samford, which is a good football team. They rushed for 355 yards. Inside handoff, and that'll be good enough to move the chains out over the 35. Give them 4 yards. And with that, let's go down to the field, check in with Dawn Davenport. Good morning, Dawn.
Good morning, Dave and DJ. I want to take you back to 2011, Alabama versus Georgia Southern. Last time Alabama faced a triple option offense. This is what happened. That Alabama defense was giving up 52 yards a game. Georgia Southern rushed for 302. Head coach Nick Saban took his team back to 2011 this week, too. Said he showed him that game film to make sure he had their attention. Such a different offense to defend. So they set aside some time back in fall camp and during the bye week even to rep it. And Coach Saban said he felt good about their defensive efforts in practice, is hoping it translates today.
Well, it was funny. It's funny, I guess, when you said, hey, did you talk to him about that game against Georgia Southern? He says, talk to him.
I showed him.
Right, I showed him the tape.
Talking doesn't do it. You got to actually see it on film.
Second down as Rainey picks up 6 solid yards on his last carry. They'll go inside. Handoff again out over the 45 to the 46. And again, that'll bring up a 3rd down. That goes to Lorenzo Ward.
And here's the balance that it forces you for Citadel is they get outside. You saw the first play pick up 6 yards, and then they bust it really hard with that beat back going right up the middle. And if Alabama crushes down too far, they get on the edge, and it's going to be the battle going back and forth for Alabama's defense right now.
So 3rd down and 1. Handoff going left side, and I don't know if he got it. It's going to be real close. Might be about a half a yard shy. Talking to Brent Thompson this week, they have to avoid negative plays. They're going to move the chains. So Lorenzo Ward does pick up enough to move the sticks. 2nd first down.
And you look at Citadel, and you see Coach Thompson there, who in his 3rd year has really put up a good record. I know the record this year doesn't show it, but he has his team moving in the right direction.
Just a power handoff off the right side, maybe a yard. Well, you don't see that wishbone look anymore.
No, this is very unconventional, and Coach Saban talked about preparing for it in the summer, preparing for it in their bye week. But this is an offense that until you play it, until you see the speed of it, it's hard to really match up how it goes in practice until you actually see it in the game. And it's going to take a few series for Alabama to get used to the speed of this style of offense.
Brandon Rainey in his 3rd start. He's only thrown the football 8 times. Big collision right at midfield. Ward gets the carry. He'll pick up 3 tough yards. This Alabama defense has been stellar. When you think about what they have been able to do, 9 quarters without giving up a touchdown, 156 minutes and counting. That is crazy. Shutout back-to-back ranked opponents. And they have gotten so much better here in the 2nd half of the season from what was already a pretty solid group. There goes Rainey. He gets it down to the 41, and there's a loose football. They're going to say he's down, and that's another Bulldog first down. That's a run of 7.
What's so unorthodox is you see the dive, it hits you pretty fast, and the inside guys can see it. But then you have Rainey who will pull it, and he'll follow him right into the hole. And you see the blocking on the edge, and that's one thing the Citadel, they don't want to just try to bull you over. They want to cut you. They want to get outside and force you to play with your hands a little bit more. But we're seeing 4 or 5 yard chunks here early on this first drive, was keeping it going for the Citadel.
10th play of the drive. That play is stuffed. First time they've gone backwards. Lorenzo Ward, they may spot his forward progress at the line of scrimmage.
And you see the guy getting up from the bottom of that pile right there, number 92, Quentin Williams. He is probably one of the more dynamic players in all of the country from his position. He is playing at an ultimate high level. 5 sacks on the year, 49 tackles. He has 3.5 sacks in the last 2 weeks. You call his name a lot today, and if Citadel wants to be successful, they have to find a way to block him.
That one's stuffed as well as Rainey has hit it to 40, and he'll fall forward and pick up a couple of yards. Zavion Smith, the first one there. The junior out of Tampa. Had 4 tackles last week.
And this is where they want to keep the Citadel offense in 3rd and long.
Leading receiver on this team is Raleigh Webb on the outside, number 22. 16 catches on the year. 3rd down, and let's call it 7.5. Rainey keeps it, and he is dropped right at the 40. He may have lost a yard.
And that's where the pressure comes for the Citadel. When you get in those 3rd and long situations, now they can pin their ears back and come after you. And there's a unique size difference from the Alabama defensive line compared to the offensive line from the Citadel. And Isaiah Buggs, number 49, comes up with a huge play there to throw off this drive that actually started pretty good for the Citadel.
Well, they pick up 3 first downs, and I think the most impressive thing by the Citadel, at least from their standpoint, is the fact that they're going to end up taking about 7+ minutes off the clock on their opening drive. So they will punt it away. Matthew Campbell, the freshman out of Decula, Georgia, aiming for the 1, and it is into the end zone. So it'll come out to the 20-yard line. We'll step aside. A good opening drive for the Citadel, but nothing to show for it. Alabama with the football when we come back. Scoreless here in Alabama. The Citadel just picked up 35 rushing yards in the last drive, but had to punt it away, and that means this guy, Tua Tagovailoa, is ready to take the field. Much talked about this week. Would he play? Would he sit? Would he rest? There was no doubt that Nick Saban said he is going to play. He is healthy and ready to go, and what a show he has put on this year.
Man, excited to watch him play today. Plays at a high level for sure.
Toss sweep coming near side to Damian Harris on the first play. Will pick up a yard out over the 20 to 21 yard line. So Tua comes in and just almost 68% completions, 28 touchdowns, 2 picks. I mean, there's so much to talk about. What do you like most about what his season has been?
Well, I think the first thing you talk about is 68%. That means he makes good decisions with the football, and he finds ways to get it to his playmakers. But I love the way he processes the game, and the ball is out of his hands before anything happens.
Harris, they say loose football. That may be Citadel football. They definitely have. They're going to say Harris is down. Boy, Citadel thought they might have had a turnover there as Harris, the back-to-back carries, gets it to the 24-yard line. So it'll be third down.
As you can see here, he's fighting for extra yards, and looks like that left elbow may have touched down. But nonetheless, brings up a third and long for Alabama.
They're going to take one. I was waiting for them. That's one of those where
it's close.
It's close enough to take another,
right.
At least a closer look at it.
Under review. The ruling on the field is that the runner was down.
That is our referee, Lee Hedrick, today. So as they look at that one more time, we will step aside. Back in a moment. Well, while we were away, it was determined that Damian Harris was down, elbow hit, and then the ball popped free. I'm sure there are a lot of Mississippi State fans out there that were hoping that this would have happened last week, right?
Yeah. Clear cut last week, I thought. But you see, obviously, that elbow goes down. So good call, good review.
So it'll be third down coming up for the Crimson Tide on their opening possession. So a chance to see Tua perhaps throw the football here on 3rd and 7. Here comes some heat. He'll go deep over the middle. Pass is caught. Easy route. Jalen Waddle with the catch across midfield. A 29-yard pickup there, and Spann bringing him down.
Yeah, still comes with a blitz, but he still has time. The offensive line does a great job of picking it up. Aaron Spann back there on the coverage, and Jalen Waddle coming up with a big catch. But throughout the year, Tua has been really good on third down. You're talking about 31 of 42, 532 yards on third down.
Tagovailoa a little bit low on that pass, looking for Jerry Jeudy. Tua without a knee brace. I think that's pretty much a topic around here. He started practicing this week without the knee brace on that left knee. So, that's a good sign that he's feeling better. I know he took a couple of shots last week against Mississippi State. One of those really just above the knee area. No structure there, just a sore quad perhaps. And Coach Saban telling us he was healthy. Boy, Damian Harris met at the line, falls forward for a yard. Ken Allen, the big nose tackle, steps up big by Citadel standards at 6'1", 280 pounds, a senior.
Yeah, he's a 3-year starter for the Citadel and played tons of ball. Did a great job of shedding the block there and getting off and making a play on Damian Harris. But bringing up another 3rd and long. We talked about Tua in this offense has been really good on third down.
Alabama 54%, 3rd in the country on third down conversions. Plenty of time for Tua, but he'll have to scramble out now. Tua will try to run for it. He will stay on his feet, still dancing around to the 30-yard line. That'll be a first down after a 16-yard gain.
We talked about the great decisions that he makes throwing the football. This decision here, Citadel decides to sit back in coverage this time and not bring the blitz. Instead of forcing it into an unwanted zone, He pulls it down and gets the first down with his legs, and I think he can put to rest all the concern about his knee. And that's one thing Coach Saban said is he's practiced every time. He's been out there every single day, and the knee is not an issue.
Josh Jacobs in the game at running back. They will give it off to Waddle, and he will turn the corner close to a 10-yard pickup right at the line to gain. That should be good enough to move the chains.
Michael Locksley, the offensive coordinator for Alabama, talked about Jalen Waddle and the speed he has. Called him lightning in the bottle. As you can see, just trying to get him in space any way possible, and he turns the corner and does a great job of getting north and south, picking up another first down.
Alabama averaging 48.5 points a game, third best in the country. Trying to put up their first points this afternoon. Going to the end zone here, and there it is. Touchdown, Alabama, 21 yards. Jalen Waddle with the touchdown catch. Well, they had to convert a couple of third and relatively long plays to pick up the touchdown on their opening drive. Bullivus to attempt the point after. (7-0) Crimson Tide. Waddle had 3 catches on that drive, 60 yards and a touchdown.
Finding Jalen Waddle in the back of the end zone, successful, another first drive score for Alabama.
SEC Network Football is presented by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Always a great time on game day here in Tuscaloosa. Alabama fans loving it here. They'll have another home game next week as the Auburn Tigers come a-calling. Bullivus to kick it away. At the 5-yard line. Raleigh Webb stuffed before he gets to the 20. Now the Citadel back in 2015 had some success, and well, they're having a little bit of fun this week. This is what Citadel football tweeted out earlier this week. Speaking of the uniforms, and a reminder of what happened the last time they played an SEC team on the SEC Network. They went into Williams-Brice Stadium and knocked off South Carolina. Interim head coach Sean Elliott was running the show. He's now done a great job at Georgia State as their head coach the last couple of seasons. But Citadel having some fun. Alabama football, we are coming for you. Well, they are here. Had a nice opening drive, DJ. They picked up 3 first downs, chewed up a lot of clock, but just didn't get enough to at least attempt a field goal. Sessions on that carry will dive forward for 5. It is such a quick hitting offense.
And that's what they kind of bank on, is that B-back getting through the hole really fast and picking up 3 or 4 yards. And in that first drive, that's how they were successful. First down execution, picking up big chunk yardage, so they're able to stay in their offense here on 2nd and 3rd down.
That handoff off the right side, close to the 29-yard line. Lorenzo Ward on that carry. He'll pick up 6, and that's another first down.
And here's one of the more on. You see a Lorenzo Ward there, who is their dynamic B-back, who they depend on a lot in this offense. And this guy had 4 touchdowns in the second half last week versus Sanford. He's a tough hitting guy right through that middle, and we've seen a couple times already. He has a full head of steam heading forward, heading to the line of scrimmage.
Rainey on first down. Maybe a half a yard, if that. Let's go downstairs to Dawn.
Dave, Alabama's defensive coaching staff after that first possession told this group, you've seen the speed of this offense now. You know exactly what to expect, and you know you're getting their best here in the first quarter. Now go wear them down.
Well, we'll see how that plays out on 2nd down. Another inside handoff goes to Sessions, only a yard there. So another 3rd down and relatively long coming up for Citadel.
Something this Alabama front has to really concern itself with in this ball game is the amount of times they're cut. You see Quentin Williams right there was immediately cut when he came off the football right there. And as a defensive lineman, that wears on you as the game goes on. And it's tough to fire off the football when guys are lunging at your legs, your ankles, and knees. But a big third down here.
Toss sweep. Ooh, big hit just across midfield. A gain of 21. Alabama player is down. Boy, Williams will get up and boy, in the open field, these guys are so big and fast, it can be dangerous.
And just see how fast they get to the edge and get the corner. That sweep motion gets around the edge so fast, and you see the finish on the back end, but I'm sure they'll take that every single time after the game. Huge hit, but a big-time gain for the Citadel.
Dylan Moses with a huge hit on Smith. They'll go quick inside. That'll pick up a couple yards inside the 45. Williams on that sidelines, taking a break for a moment. Well, you don't want to lose that young man. I mean, how often do you see a nose tackle at this point in the year with 40? Now he has 50 tackles on the season. 50.
He has one of the quickest first steps I've seen on film. He plays with tons of strength, and just like that, the first quarter is starting to come to an end. And Citadel has come in here and done exactly what they wanted to do, is control this clock and control the football. And second drive of the game, they're driving.
I will say this, I've done a lot of football over the last 20-something years. That might be the quickest quarter in history.
It felt like it.
Just one possession for Alabama. We're on the second Citadel possession, but Alabama's first one was outstanding. They pick up the touchdown and lead 7-0. Back to Bryant-Denny Stadium after this. Well, Quentin Williams was trying to get back on the field a moment ago, but he'll sit this one out, at least this play, and the reason being is, well, we will show you after this upcoming play. He got popped pretty good, maybe a little bit late. Here's second down. There's another big collision right there. That one coming from Raekwon Davis. Loss of a yard.
Watch his Drew McIntyre right here. Watch him right here on the edge. Get a little nudge on Quentin Williams. And you think they know who he is coming into this ball game, and that's kind of a message to him that we're not afraid of you guys. We're going to come in here and a little bit of a cheap shot there coming off the edge, but that's more of a wake-up call to him than no, we here all day.
Third down. Another third down and relatively long. 3rd and 9. They'll go straight dive play. No room there. Ward is stuffed. Dylan Moses, the first one there. So now it's 4th down. Looks like Citadel will punt it away again. But again, another couple of first downs. You're chewing up some clock.
Yeah, and it's a successful drive because you flip the field. You don't give Alabama's offense easy rain to come down and have great field position. You're forcing them to go full field and make some plays. And we saw last drive, Alabama had to pick up some key 3rd and longs to keep that first drive going.
Citadel is 74 yards rushing. Bama's been averaging over the last 4 games just 39 yards per game allowed rushing. Fair catch called for at the 10. 34-yard punt. Alabama will have it for their second possession. We'll step aside. Second quarter football.
Didn't he say that Alabama was #1 all the way through for everybody?
Everything's going to be perfect. All of our fans think that. You all think that. That's what you write about.
Insert your favorite team. Washington State. Insert your favorite team. Ohio State. They would smack you.
I worry about it all the time.
I think Bama's offense is going to score against whoever they play.
Our players need to learn that, you have to be able to play every week.
Alabama is a different team. This offense is incredible. Tua is incredible.
I'm not really interested in any of your suggestions about how we should manage our team and what we should do to try to get better, regardless of what you think.
Incomplete pass there. But yeah, the rat poison he talks about. Everybody patting him on his back. We talked to him a little bit about that and how to manage it. And he says, you know, it's not easy trying to avoid the pitfalls that come with being such a successful team.
And that's part of it is in this day and age of social media and everything is so accessible for these kids to be able to see it and get patted on the back. And I think that's why he is so tough on his kids and fighting that complacency week in and week out.
Surprised he didn't care what I thought. How to coach his team. Out of that pistol formation. They'll hand it off right side. That'll go to Jacobs. That'll be a loss of 2 on the play. So now it's 3rd down and long. This will be the 3rd time they face 3rd down and relatively long. I guess the upside of that is when you have 2 at quarterback, he's 32 of 43 for 550 yards on 3rd downs.
And Dave,
on 3rd downs.
Even better stat, of those 32 times, it's been 3rd down and 10 or more. He has 3 touchdowns and completed half of them. So he's done a great job of getting that football out, but also completing it.
Some pressure comes, picked up by Alabama. Tua trying to run for it, and he'll be dropped around the 15-yard line. He'll get 6 yards, but the Citadel will force Alabama to punt on their 2nd possession.
Give the Citadel some credit on the back end. They come with a 6-man pressure up front, and they end up picking it up, but there's nowhere to go with the football. And Willie Eubanks comes from the back end, does a great job, and you can see the pressure come right off his right side and through the middle. They pick it up really well, but nowhere to go with the football, and Tua has to eat it. And that's a successful 3 and out there for Citadel, and they're going to get great field position.
Bernaire will punt it away, averaging about 36 yards a kick. That'll be caught by Botkin, and he'll fall forward to the 45. Excellent field position now for the Citadel. 2nd quarter football, 11:52 to go before halftime. Number 1 Alabama leading the Citadel 7-0 here in the 2nd quarter. The Citadel has rushed for 73 yards. So that leads us to today's DJ Shockley's shocked or not shocked. How surprised are you by this?
Dave, you know what? This may surprise you and everyone watching, but I am not shocked by this. Even though they haven't given up, this amount of yards in the last 4 games. But this is an offense that's hard to prepare for. It's something unorthodox. You're not used to it. They're still trying to figure out the speed and where it's coming from. Even for the best defense, around the country, it's just hard to stop, and I'm not shocked by it.
There's the pitch. There's some running room. Down the right side. Dante Smith, touchdown, Citadel, 45 yards. Alabama had gone 11-plus quarters without allowing a point.
The excitement on the Citadel sideline tells you everything. And we talked about hitting it up the middle, then get on the edge, and you finally, if you have one person out of position not doing their particular job, this is the outcome. And the Citadel, wow. Big play coming out of the break.
First touchdown of the year for the A-back, Dante Smith, the redshirt freshman out of North Charleston, South Carolina. Jacob Godek will attempt the point after. He is perfect, 34 out of 34 on the season. Wow. Talk about putting a hush inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. We are tied at 7 with 11:42 to play here in the 2nd quarter.
And Dave, when you're running this triple offense, everybody has to do your job, and eyes have to be everywhere. If one guy does not do his job, and he should be out here on the pitch man, there are multiple guys inside for the quarterback. And when you lose leverage on the outside and one guy does not have his responsibility on the outside, which is Dante Smith, goes in for the big score. But one guy out of position, it leads to this, and the speed of Dante Smith to get down and get a big score. I'm not sure many people expected at this moment in the second quarter Alabama to be tied with the Citadel 7-7. But give this Citadel team a lot of credit coming in here and fighting early in this ball game and possessing the football. And Alabama, we just mentioned it, giving up points, giving up yards. This is a tough offense to prepare for.
170-plus minutes since Alabama's defense gave up a touchdown. That is just crazy. Last TD allowed was second quarter against Tennessee back on October 20th. So the Citadel will kick it away. Little pooch kick. That'll be fielded around the 36-yard line. And with that, let's go back to the studio for an update with DirecTV. More for your college football thing. Very interesting, Peter. You don't see it a whole lot. Of course, Georgia Tech is, at least the second half of the season, starting to play pretty well under that Paul Johnson offense. It has given Georgia some fits over the years. Of course, those two teams will play next week in Athens. Here, Tagovailoa coming near side, gets it to Jacobs, and he is hit and knocked out of bounds. He'll pick up a first down after a 15-yard gain.
And you see right off the bat, offensive coordinator Mike Locksley get his quarterback outside the pocket. He hasn't had a lot of success standing inside the pocket, especially on third down. Get him on the edge, get one of your playmakers, Josh Jacobs, on the corner, and picks up a huge first down to get this drive started.
Harrison Jacobs in the backfield. They'll split Jacobs out wide. Now over the middle, pass is caught. Judy spins out of trouble. Loose football down on the turf. Citadel says they have it, and they do. My goodness. My goodness. Jerry Judy trying to make a play, couldn't hold on to the football.
And this is just a routine play. You make a catch, you come out of it, and you're fighting for extra yards going down the field, and that's what all defenders are taught. When you're coming from the backside, secure the tackle, but also rip it out. Russell Hubbs comes from the backside and makes a huge play on it, and looks like Ronald Peter gets the recovery there. Give Ronald Peter getting a lot of credit for going under there and getting that football. But a big turn of events here. Citadel is coming out and playing with a lot of energy and fighting Alabama here early.
11:05 to play here in the first half. Rainey tries to turn the corner. Will get a yard. Quentin Williams back on the field. He makes the tackle. You know, Alabama, according to ESPN, had a 99.9% chance to win this game. But Citadel making it difficult today for Alabama.
And that's why you play the game, Dave. A lot of people talk about the stats and numbers, but you still have to play the game.
Handoff goes inside for a couple of hard-earned yards. Deontay Sessions with that carry.
And a third down here. It's a third down you would want if you're still to be a little bit closer. But taking the way they've run the football, they're picking up huge chunks of plays. 3rd and 7 is a big down for them and bigger for Alabama.
There's the option play that they were able to bust for a 45-yard touchdown on their last drive. Loses a yard this time. Jennings reading it and playing it well. It'll be 4th down.
Yeah, and that's the adjustment you make there. Everybody had their responsibility. Somebody had to dive. Somebody had the quarterback. And you can see on the outside that time, Savion Smith, the corner, actually has the pitch man. You stay at home. You do your job. Do not try to do too much. And that's where they hurt you. And that's a big 3-and-out for Alabama's defense after that big play last series.
These punt returns can also be considered an offensive play for Alabama, the way Waddle can return punts, averaging almost 15 per return, 5th best number in the country. He stands inside the 20. An opportunity to field this. I think he lost it in the sun. Couldn't find it, and it'll roll inside the 10, and that's what he says as he runs off. I couldn't see it, couldn't find it. 52-yard punt. Alabama will have it, tied at 7. Back in a moment. There is Coach Loxley, the offensive coordinator, thinking things through and talking to him yesterday. You know, he says it's such a benefit to have every group on his offense have playmakers, and they've been able every week to kind of figure out what's going to work. But so far, you know, they do have the touchdown on the board, but it just doesn't seem like there's much of a rhythm.
Yeah, and the one thing he talked about is they're so deep in all these different skill positions, and he said, listen, we want to run 80 plays a game, and they also self-scout themselves every Monday, which I thought was pretty unique.
Najee Harris hurdles a man, still on his feet, running hard out over the 40. 32-yard pickup for number 22.
We've already seen Josh Jacobs. We've seen Damian Harris. And here comes another big-time back in Najee Harris. He has the size. He has the speed. And you see the athleticism once he gets to that second and third level. He's running through arm tackles. They're so deep at the running back position. It makes them hard to defend.
They'll split Jacobs out wide. Tagovailoa going deep down the middle. Shavers can't catch up to it. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Well, maybe that Harris run will spark this offense. Look, I think we all get it. I mean, it's hard to, if you're an Alabama player, to not recognize you're playing an FCS team, right? It's an early kickoff. I mean, all the elements are there for a slow start.
I've been in games like this before, and it takes you maybe a quarter and a half to get going. And it's hard for human nature to look on the other side and say, this is not the usual rivalry that you think about in the SEC, and you got to find a way to get yourself motivated and find a way to get going.
Tua. Pass is caught. What a grab by Jerry Jeudy as he got hit immediately. Held on to it. Sean Thomas Faulkner was the one who hit him right away. Picks up 12 and a 1st down.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy comes back and make a nice catch here, a little acrobatic, going up and get the football. And he's considered what Coach Loxley says the Calvin Ridley clone that they like, can do it all. And he's trying to make up for that fumble he had on the previous series. But he's averaging around 20 yards of reception this season.
That is 5th best in the country. 4-man rush. Coverage downfield pretty solid, but Irv Smith wide open at the chains on the far side. The Mackey Award finalist picks up 18, but a flag is down. Just noticed it right in the Alabama logo at midfield. And everybody's walking back.
Holding on the offense, number 66. 10-yard penalty from the previous spot. Replay, 1st down.
When you watch Lester Cotton right here, he's your left guard. He's get caught with the holding penalty. It happens as Tua starts to get outside the pocket and wants to get away. And you can see the tug and pull come right at the edge right there. That left hand just tugs on the defensive lineman. You don't see many penalties from this Alabama offensive line, but it puts them in a precarious situation here on 1st and long.
Lester Cotton in there today. Deontay Brown, by the way, out today, has turf toe. Coach said it wasn't because of Citadel. He wouldn't have played if it was the Auburn game this week. Just trying to get him healthy down the stretch. Wide side throw to Jeudy. Bobbled it, and it popped out into the Citadel bench. They talk about it on the far side. It'll be a 22-yard pickup if it holds.
Yeah, Dave, I don't think he had control of it as he came down. They're going to call it a completion, but I wouldn't be surprised if Alabama tries to hurry up here.
My first reaction is that's a catch. It looks like he had it in his right hand and came out late. They're going to obviously take another look, and certainly worthy of that. But
the previous play is under review.
Possession in his right hand, it appears, right? Control the football.
Yeah, that's a catch.
Well, while they look at that, we will step aside. Tied at 7 here. Alabama on the move. All right, thank you, Peter. Here it's tied at 7, Alabama and the Citadel, and I think this score is probably flashing up on everybody's TVs. Might be watching some other games, kind of scratching their heads. But that is the case. But Alabama driving right now. First down and 10. They called it a catch by Jerry Jeudy. Didn't take them long to figure that out. Trying to set up a little wide receiver screen. They do so. Pass is caught by Ruggs. He's inside the 20 down to the 14-yard line. 22-yard pickup. Bowers bringing him down.
Perfect call coming out of a timeout. Perfect time to call a screen. Citadel not really looking for. Good job of your offensive lineman out in front. You see 71 rush. Pierce-Barker does a great job of getting out in front, and Ruggs in space. We talked about how many playmakers they have, the speed he has. Big first down completion.
It's always nice when you have Pierce-Barker leading the way for you. And handoff goes to Damian Harris, and he falls forward inside the 10 down to around the 8-yard line. Let's give him 6. Sean Thomas Faulkner making the play for the Citadel.
Damian Harris, a guy coming in here averaging 6.5 a carry. You know he's one of the leaders on this ball club. Played tons of football for his Alabama offense and team. Proven player for sure, Dave.
Second down. Waddle goes in motion, but they'll hand it off right side, and Harris has stood up before he gets to the 5, so it'll be third down and short. We were just noticing Jerry Jeudy kind of hobbling a little bit the last couple of plays.
And he's taking a couple hits today. I mean, the one on the sideline we just saw was a nice hit. And you can see at the end of this play,
and he just kind of goes down.
Grabbing that ankle.
We'll keep an eye on that. They certainly need him. 45 catches coming into this game. Third down, though, and a couple of yards coming up for Alabama. Tua coming near side, looking to throw, stops, fires, is hit, and dropped. Looking for Ruggs in the end zone. Incomplete. Tua took a pretty big shot in the process. And here comes the kicking unit for Alabama.
And Dave, the last thing as a quarterback you want to do on a rollout is pull up and stop and try to throw the football. All the pressure is coming from the inside. He takes a nice shot coming from the inside from Willie Eubanks. But how about this for Citadel? This is a win for them. Even if Alabama makes his field goal, stopping them, they on 3rd and 2.
23-yard attempt on the way. Bulovas, 10 of 14 on the year. Had a career-long 49-yarder last week against Mississippi State. And this one is through the uprights and good. So Alabama reclaims the lead. It's 10-7, just under 5 to go before halftime. We'll be back in 60 seconds. Thanks, guys. And, you know, Coach Saban reiterated it with us multiple times, just how tough it is to get a true look. It's hard in practice for guys that don't run it. The scout team doesn't even know what they're doing, really. So the speed of it is just something that catches you off guard, I think.
And Dave, you make a great point. You can.
Hey, coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern, college football continues on the SEC Network with number 5 Georgia hosting UMass. And Ole Miss heads to Vanderbilt at 7:30 for SEC Saturday night matchup. Now on the alternate channel, have Liberty at Auburn at 4, then Chattanooga against South Carolina at 7:30. To find the SEC alternate channel in your area, go to secnetwork.com/channel. All 4 games, of course, on the ESPN app. Well, there's the number. 73% chance for the SEC teams to win all 8 non-conference games today. Again, this one was 99.9 for Alabama over the Citadel. Brandon Rainey picks up 5 coming around the edge. And we saw the last possession. We were talking about the comfort zone.
Yes.
And it almost felt like Alabama said, okay, we kind of have this now.
Yeah, and it's all in the fundamentals. It's all about the details for this Alabama defense. Each guy doing their particular job, because this Citadel offense does so much with what they call eye candy. Opposite pullers going wrong ways. If you read the wrong thing, you can get out of your gap, and you can see a big play happen as they had that last 2 drives ago.
45-yard touchdown for the Citadel. Brandon Rainey keeps it for 3. I think one of the interesting things, too, is every time, you know, like I said, I've had a chance to do Georgia Tech and Georgia a few times lately, and you hear Kirby Smart and his staff, they call it. It seems like everybody's in communication the week you got an option team, right?
Yeah.
Let's call this guy. Let's call that guy.
Yeah, and that's one thing when I was down on the field before the game talking to defensive coordinator Tosh LaPoy, he said, hey, I talked to some of those Georgia guys about how do you stop this style.
Yeah, because they don't, even the coaches don't see it a lot. It's almost like they have a hard time trying to defend it as well because they just don't practice against it. 3rd down and short. Toss sweep coming this side. That'll be a first down for the Citadel over the 35. Gain of 4 on the play. Trying to get the edge. Sessions with another strong carry.
And Dave, I think you bring up a great point a couple minutes ago in the scout team for Alabama having to actually try to defend this and actually play the Citadel in practice. It's tough to kind of practice against because these guys didn't come here to play the triple option. So it's hard for them to even recreate what the Citadel does during practice.
Quick inside handoff. That goes to Nakim Njoku. He'll pick up a couple of yards. A freshman out of St. Pius High School in Atlanta, Georgia. There's Slade Bolden, and the reason we show you him is the wide receiver was played quarterback in high school, ran a very similar option attack. He was the guy that had to play Brandon Rainey all week in practice.
I've had to be that guy before, and it is not fun.
Here's Rainey trying to turn the corner, breaks a tackle, still on his feet across midfield, and he's dropped around the 48. Smith bringing him down, and there comes some flags late. Alabama looks like they might be getting a little frustrated.
And Dave, you hit it right on the top of the head. They're getting frustrated because they're giving up yards. They're not used to giving up yards in chunks like this, and the frustration is setting in.
After the play was over, personal foul on the defense, number 32, 15-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Well, there were a few crimson jerseys over there, and they found Dylan Moses as the guilty party.
You see right at the end right there.
Nice wrestling move if we were in the WWE, and I think that's just an example of it's getting a little frustrating right now. Alabama has given up 148 yards on the ground, and I think the biggest number of all is the fact that Citadel's closing in on 17 minutes of time of possession. Rainey twists to the 30, couple of more yards. And for the Citadel, I think the story, too, also was the fact that Brandon Rainey, this is just his 3rd start at quarterback. Jordan Black had been running the show. And the week before Western Carolina, Coach Thompson suspended 5 players, including Jordan Black. But he says the suspension really didn't dictate the fact that Rainey was going to play. They had already kind of had that plan.
Yeah, and they said earlier in the year he wasn't there progression-wise with the different checks that go at the line of scrimmage. But now, as the middle of the year, the end of the year come on, he is definitely taking on the challenge.
2nd down. Rainey trying to throw it. That didn't work. As soon as he looked upfield, Jennings was right in his face. A loss of 4.
And they did a good job on the back end as well. It was just a great job of they try to lull you to sleep, run it, and then they finally get to you. And just a great job of Anthony Jennings getting to him. But here's a big 3rd down here after the sack. Alabama wants to get off the field.
Citadel today, 5 of 8 on 3rd downs. Alabama defensively been really good. They've been allowing just 28% conversions. That is top 10 in the country. Rainey will keep it, try to get it close to the 30. He'll pick up 3. Jacob Godek, their kicker, has a long of 44 yards. So it'll be 4th down.
You see him right on the edge right here at field goal range, and you expect Citadel to run this clock all the way down and try to take it into halftime, tie it up with the #1 team in the country.
Can you believe that?
You think people would be a little wide-eyed to see that number?
I was here a few years ago when Tennessee Chattanooga came rolling in, and I think the score was like 10-3 at halftime on a night game. And from what I heard, that halftime was not much fun for Alabama. They came out and smoked Chattanooga in the second half. But Alabama's defense has been giving up less than 100 yards a game this season. But so far, Citadel has put together 149 yards out of this triple option attack.
Yeah, head coach Brent Thompson said, hey, we want to come in this ball game and play the old adage, 4 yards in a cloud of dust. Well, they've gotten a little bit more than 4 yards on some particular carries, and they're sitting right in the middle of this ball game with the way they've controlled the ball and held on to it. But this Alabama defense still seems as if they have not found an answer to the Citadel rushing attack, and you can see the numbers there that they're putting up already in the first half.
So Godek, the junior out of Longwood, Florida, his long is 44 against Townsend earlier. Made 8 straight after missing his first field goal of the season. This will be from 48 yards and to tie it up right before halftime. Kick is on the way, and it is good. My, oh my. Alabama and the Citadel are tied at 10.
That will be one jubilant locker room as a Citadel, and sometimes all you need is to believe.
Well, let's go down to Dawn.
Yeah, here with Coach Saban. Coach, you told us before the game how difficult it is to prepare for an offense like that. How would you assess your guys' ability to handle it?
Well, I think they're shrinking the game on us. They're 3 or 4 yardness to death. We gave up one big play because we busted on the option. So we got to do a better job on offense. We got to take advantage of every possession when a team's shrinking the game on you. We've turned the ball over. We went 3 and out once. We didn't score a touchdown in the red zone. So, I think that's the difference in the game, and that's going to be the key to it. We got to keep playing well on defense.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thank you.
Wow, they will try to figure things out. I mean, this will leave you speechless. At the 10-10 our score. #1 Alabama in a little bit of a fight with the Citadel Bulldogs. Guys, what do you make of this? Peter, take it away. Well, the folks here at Bryant-Denny Stadium still scratching their heads after the first 30 minutes of football. The Citadel out of the FCS Southern Conference team tied with the #1 team in America. 10-10 as you continue to watch SEC Network football presented by Allstate. Dave Neal alongside former Georgia quarterback DJ Shockley. And DJ, the Citadel came in here, obviously had a game plan. Let's just run, chew up the clock. I think where they got fortunate was the fact that Alabama really couldn't do a lot offensively. So how does Alabama get it rolling in that regard?
Well, the tough part is, as an offensive guy, you want to make the most of every possession. And when you're limited, it forces you to force things, and guys are trying to make extra plays. And we saw that with Jerry Jeudy a couple times, trying to make an extra run, and you fumble the football. But you got to find a way to be – you have to execute better on offense when you have the football, but defensively, they are totally frustrated with what's going on right now.
The other aspect of this, you mentioned the word frustration. Listen, Alabama's closest margin at halftime has been 16-0. They had to lead over LSU. I mean, they have dominated everybody. They've never been in this position before.
And I think that's what Coach Nick Saban is really excited about, to see how his team responds. He equated it to Deontay Wilder coming to talk to him early in the year, and he said, hey, everybody's going to get punched in the face. It's all about how you respond. And right now, they got punched in the face in the first half. How will they respond?
Another pooch kick. This will be dropped at the 32-yard line. And the Citadel says they have it. Oh, my goodness. Miller Forstall tried to run with it. And now Citadel has a short field at the 31-yard line.
And you come out of halftime, this is the last thing you want. You've turned the football over already one time in the first half. Now you have another turnover in the second half. This is not the way you want to start the second half coming out. And we've usually seen him fair catch this football, but you see a helmet right on the football and knocks it free. And the Citadel there to recover it. Big, big play to open the second half.
Well, Alabama had all these plans, get our offense cranked up, march it down the field, but now they got to stop the Citadel. Gain of 3 on that play. That one goes to Dante Smith. Let's go downstairs to Dawn.
Well, Dave and DJ, stay calm. That was the message for the Citadel players from their head coach, Brent Thompson. He reminded his guys, we're a second-half football team. They've outscored their opponents 63-3 this season in the second half. He said the key is going to be to stay calm, and he said offensively they've stayed on the field, so they've been able to frustrate Alabama. That's what needs to continue.
Here goes Rainey off the right side, inside the 25, down to the 23-yard line. That's 5, and here's another one of those third down and 2 or 3 yards. Jennings makes the play. Jennings with 8 tackles already.
But this is where this offense wants to be. This is where they had their success in the first half. First and second down execution. Now you're in the third down. It gives you a very manageable situation. They're in prime position.
Right side, nowhere to go. That'll be a loss, maybe of a half a yard, if that. Lorenzo Ward had no room to run.
Well, the number one thing that stops the triple option offense is penetration. And on that particular play, that defensive line took it over and forced the issue and forced a negative yardage play there. But to be able to come out of this and get 3 points is a win for the Citadel. And good job with his defense standing up.
Godek is hit from 48. This from the near hash, 40 yards away. A flag is down. The kick was good.
False start on the offense, number 54. 5-yard penalty.
You know, I was saying to myself, boy, it sure is taking him a long time to snap this football.
Yeah, and when you're sitting down in your stands for that long, you get a little antsy, and you got those big boys from Alabama in front of you. You get a little antsy in your stance and your false start, but still in the range for a big-time field goal here for Godek.
Now from 45. Godek has hit 9 straight after he missed his opening field goal of the season. Kick is on the way, and it is no good. The penalty keeps 3 off the board for the Citadel, and Alabama will get the football.
And you see the disappointment there on Brent Thompson, head coach from the Citadel, saying they had a prime opportunity to get points and get the momentum to start this third quarter.
Alabama has never trailed in the second half this year, and the Citadel had a chance to be the first ones to put the Tide behind. Tua in the first half. 8 of 12, 144 yards and 1 touchdown. That came on the opening drive. He will throw on first down here. Nice grab. Good looking catch from Henry Ruggs. Picks up 9. Well, there it is at halftime. LSU. They were the best team in terms of keeping it close at halftime. Just 16 points. Alabama led 16-0 against LSU. But today, 10-10 at the half with the Citadel. There's Ruggs again as he slips as he crosses the 40. That'll be good enough to move the chains. He picks up, well, let's give him 6.
Yeah, if he's able to keep his feet and keep running, he probably picks up another 15, 20 yards. But this is the offense coming out with the aggressive mentality, coming out, throwing it on first down, getting Tua on the edge. And that's where they really were successful in the first half, when they got him outside the pocket.
Another play fake. Going deep. There's Ruggs. He'll be run out of bounds around the 5-yard line. He beats Chris Beverly. 53-yard pickup.
And here's the double move here by Ruggs to get up. He does a great job on the outside of selling the inside slant route. You call it a sluggo. And he does a great job of holding his point in a well-thrown ball by Tua.
Harris, he may have lost a yard back to the 5. Aaron Spann coming up from his safety spot, making the play. Harris having a tough time getting it going today. We did see a nice run from Najee Harris early on, but Damian, a little bit of a struggle in the run game today. 6 carries, just 11 yards. It's a 1.8 average.
Yeah, and that's kind of been the difference is that Alabama in the past few weeks, the run game has really been the key to their balance, and that's what they want to do is be balanced, but they haven't been able to get going today running the football.
Play clock down to 3. Pressure comes to the end zone. A leaping grab. Touchdown, Alabama. Jalen Waddle with his 2nd today.
Couple big plays on the outside, and watch Waddle go up and get that right foot down. And that's a touchdown. Great ball by Tua to get that on the outside shoulder. And what a momentum swing here for Alabama to take this football down the field on the arms of Tua Tagovailoa.
Five plays took 2 minutes and 15 seconds. Bulovas with the point after. It's up and good. So Alabama back out in front. Tagovailoa getting it done with his arm. His 2nd touchdown pass today. And Alabama out in front. Well, Waddle and Ruggs, big on that one. Ruggs had a 53-yard reception that set him up. Then Waddle took it to the end zone. And Tua Tagovailoa, look at that. 32 touchdowns on 39 red zone possessions for Tua.
Efficiency at his finest.
I would say so. That is crazy. Let's take a look at Playing with Style, brought to you by Belk. And Henry Ruggs, the guy they call the Energizer Bunny of the wide receiver group, with a big catch.
The sluggo route, well done. Patience on the route. And then you see Tua just laying it in there for Waddle when he's getting that 1 foot down. The execution on that drive is what Alabama is used to, and it is on display in that last drive.
And Tua just tied A.J. McCarron for the single-season touchdown passing record. Now has 30 in his career. 30 touchdowns this year, just 2 interceptions. Is that any good?
Yeah, you know, that's kind of average. You know, I don't know. No, that is pretty good.
Well, the play clock's on 0. I think it took everybody a while to catch it.
On the offense, number 16, 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Well, that's the last thing this offense needed was, and they've done a great job pretty much the entire first half was staying ahead of the chains. Now you get yourself in a 1st and 15. You make it a little bit harder to run your style of offense and pick up yards against a defense that hopefully they're trying to figure it out.
Little pitch. Alabama played it well. A fumble, loose ball, picked up by the Tide. No whistle, touchdown, Alabama. Anthony Jennings with the scoop and score.
And just that fast, when you do your job, each guy is playing their particular spot on this defense. You have a chance to make plays. And you can see on the outside, keeping containment, keeping leverage on the outside is Xavier McKinney. And you see the ball pop out, Anthony Jennings scoop and score. And just like that, the momentum of this game has completely changed.
Boy, they played that textbook. Keep containment on the outside. Thompson was there to make a play. Ball comes loose, and Jennings is rewarded with the 6 points. Boy, Citadel had a chance. They actually made the field goal, but false start nullified it. Then they missed their second attempt. And Alabama has scored, looking to score 14 here in a matter of seconds. Bulova's point after is up and good. So the 18-yard fumble return from Anthony Jennings puts Alabama up by 14. Time for us to take a look at the mayhem moment brought to you by Allstate, and this was certainly mayhem for the Citadel. On a pitch, well played by the Crimson Tide, and Anthony Jennings scores the 7th non-offensive touchdown for Bama this year. It's the first fumble return for a touchdown, but the defense again putting points on the board. And what do you get when you are part of the mayhem moment? You get to go back on the field in a matter of seconds. So the Citadel will have it out to the 25. Monday, 7 o'clock Eastern, it's Thinking Out Loud with Greg McElroy and Marcus Spears. They'll talk some football. They want your participation via social media throughout the show. Also available streaming live on the ESPN app. I bet they'll be talking a little bit about this one.
They need to be talking to Dave Neal. And if you go on Thinking Out Loud, you must wear this jacket, Dave, right here. Look at this jacket.
I think we need to make that our mayhem moment jacket. My man's got some bling.
He got the bling on the rings, yeah.
Inside handoff goes to Sessions, picks up a couple of yards.
Dave, what about the rings right there? The bling on the rings right there. You all about that?
He's all in. That's all I'm going to say. He is all in.
That is impressive. With that jacket, you can't sit down. You got to stand up. Everybody has to see you.
So Alabama quickly with 2 touchdowns here in the third quarter. Get a little separation. Second down and let's say 8 coming up for the Citadel. Rainey turns the corner, and it just feels like Alabama's starting to understand the principles of defending this option attack. Dylan Moses making a play there.
And Dave, I talked about it in the first half. Sometimes it takes a half. It takes a quarter and a half to really understand what they're trying to do and also how to play those different cut blocks. And everybody understand it. Listen, if I do my job, I can be successful. And it brings up a big third down here for the Citadel.
Third down and 5. The Citadel, 5 out of 10 converting. Make it 5 out of 11. Quinnen Williams stops Brandon Rainey. He is just a monster in the middle of that defense. I mean, there have been game changers here at Alabama, but this guy's a difference maker.
Look at Quinnen Williams right here in the middle. Watch, he takes on the block and sheds the block, gets rid of it. 2 different players, and then makes the play on the quarterback. That's hard to teach right there, knowing how to play it, but he fights off 2 separate guys trying to block him and makes the play and gets his team off the field.
Waddle with a chance to return it here. Slips on the turf. 46-yard punt, give him a 5-yard return, and there is a flag down on the field back at the other end. So let's wait one moment as you look at Quinnen Williams, who his coach says is just a football animal.
I think they poked the bear a little bit
yes,
earlier
they did.
When they had a little cheap shot on him, and then I think he got a little angry. And he's playing like the top player in the country.
During the kick, illegal block in the back on the return team, number 34, 10-yard penalty from the end of the kick, first down.
Well, there you have it. 8:09 to play. Alabama with the football, up 24-10.
You look around at this place, you could have gone probably to anywhere. How'd you end up coming to Alabama?
It was really my dad. I didn't really have a choice to go anywhere else. Yes,
Really?
Sir. Yes, sir. It's a real cultural thing.
Yeah.
To kind of have your parents make those decisions for you, or just big decisions in general. My parents are my heart. And so with that being said, it's one of those things where whatever they want, I want.
Well, I think it's worked out pretty well for Tua and the family. And you know, I've seen that soundbite a couple times, and the guys around the crew, we've talked a little bit about having your dad pick the school for the child who's going to go play. But think about the pressure that's taken off the shoulders.
Yeah, especially coming to a place like Alabama where the expectations are already high. But his dad, I think, made a great decision sending him to Alabama. He's definitely paid it off with his play at the end of last year and starting this year.
Here's Judy coming near side. He has broken a few ankles this year with some of these moves. Saw one last week against Mississippi State. He is a fun guy to watch with the football in his hands.
Yeah, offensive coordinator Mike Loxley calls him the sports car of the receiver group. And one guy you only bring out on Sundays. He's a very fancy guy, but he plays at an ultra high level, and a guy who you say is playing really good for him now.
First down and 10 for the Alabama Crimson Tide at the 26-yard line. Tua to throw it again. This one is to Judy again. He's out over the 30 to the 32-yard line. Chris Beverly hanging on, a gain of 6. So it has become quite apparent what Alabama has determined they're going to do here in the second half, and that is throw the football down the field. I think they only have one, maybe 2 rushes here in the third quarter. Just 1 rush on their opening possession. Second down. Some pressure comes. Alabama picks it up all day. Over the middle is Irv Smith, the tight end. What a move at midfield. Irv on the run. He's to the 30. Irv is inside the 10, and he will score. 68 yards.
Irv Smith, one of the more exciting tight ends, the athleticism, and I love what he did at the beginning of the route. He just sat it down, gave his quarterback a chance to find him right there in the middle of the field. Then what he does after the catches, you're not seeing many tight ends do that around the country. To be able to take it that distance for 6, athleticism, speed, he's got it all.
And the point after hits the left upright. Well, that has been an issue. Bulovas now has missed 4 extra points on the year.
Watch Irv come here and just sit it down right there. In a zone, has a great job, and then he makes one guy miss, and then now the run after the catch. He's got a receiver down there blocking for him. Henry Ruggs frees him at the end. But the athleticism to be able to get down the field, and one of the dead legs right there. We talked about Jerry Judy have the dead leg. Irv Smith learning something from his fellow receiver, and Ruggs taking him all the way in for a big-time score. And now we see this Alabama offense looking as explosive as we've seen it look all year long.
Third touchdown pass of the game for Tua. He is now 15 of 19, 299. And, you know, this league has really found some tight ends. I think just about every team in the league has somebody that is an excellent playmaker, but Irv is the top of that list right now in terms of next level tight ends. Expect him to be a first rounder.
There's nothing like having a tight end like these guys who can control the middle of the field, but also are athletic enough to make plays like that.
Fair catch called for, so out to the 25-yard line, and the Citadel will have the football down 20 points. Tagovailoa has just set the school single-season record for touchdown passes as he takes over that mark from A.J. McCarron. 31 this season. And, I mean, coming in, he'd only played 64% of the offensive snaps. Imagine if that number's at 80 or something.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing what he has done in the time he's been in the ball game, and he's continued to play at that level.
Not much happening there. To the line of scrimmage goes Dante Smith. Maybe a yard. Hey, Thursday at 7 o'clock Eastern, it's Marty and McGee. They have you covered with everything that's SEC. You can never get enough of the M&M boys. It's right here on the SEC Network. Of course, you can catch that streaming on the ESPN app as well. Hey, total yards this half, Citadel has 12. Alabama, 157.
Far cry of what we saw in the first half. And the Citadel controlled the line of scrimmage. They controlled the time possession. The second half, they made the adjustments for Alabama, and it's been the other way.
Gain of 5 on the play out to the 31-yard line. Brandon Rainey fighting for some tough yards. A quarterback for the Citadel. The Military School of South Carolina with an enrollment of 2,300. What's Alabama? I think Alabama's like 38,000 or something like that.
Wow. That's a big comparison.
Toss sweep. Not happening there for Sessions. He's tripped up after a gain of 2 on the play by Xavier McKinney, who now has 5 tackles and a forced fumble.
In the first half, we saw these similar type plays get to the edge, and they finally find a crease. Well, the Alabama defense has started to understand how to play against it, and they just extended that play all the way out. And Xavier McKinley comes up and makes a big play on the edge to halt a drive, and another 3 and out for Citadel.
Waddle stands back at the 24-yard line. This one aiming out of bounds. So Alabama will have it. They lead it 30-10. We'll be back in 60 seconds. Tua Tagovailoa going back in a 30-10 game. It's interesting that he's playing here toward the end of the third quarter. There were a lot of folks around here saying that he shouldn't play today. Nick Saban was having none of that. Regardless, Jalen Hurts, who has been trying to fight through some ankle stuff that's been going on, and watching him at practice this week, still not moving around very well. You know, Coach said don't be surprised if he doesn't try to get him a few snaps today, depending on how things have worked. But Tua's still in the game.
Yeah, I saw him before the game, and he had that ankle heavily taped in warm-up, trying to move around a little bit. But he didn't. Last guy to make a chance of seeing it.
Here goes Waddle coming near side and makes a man miss. Now dancing around and makes something out of nothing. Gain of 9. Let's go down to Dawn.
Yeah, Dave and DJ, you guys talking about Jalen Hurts. I was on quarterback watch during warm-ups earlier today. He came into the stadium in a walking boot, but I watched him closely during warm-ups, and I tell you what, he was dancing early. He looked comfortable, wasn't favoring that ankle at all. Both of them taped up pretty tight, DJ, but I thought he actually moved really well in warm-ups.
It'll be interesting to see if he does take a snap or two today. I think at some point you got to figure out what he can do with Auburn and Georgia coming up. Judy wide open around the 35. Boy, this turf is a little bit slick today. We have seen quite a few players trying to turn the corner and their feet come out from underneath them, but Judy will pick up the Alabama first down.
Yeah, Judy's one of the best guys coming out of the top of his breaks, and you see the field there. But Judy runs with such pace, such patience. He has the speed, so a lot of defensive backs, they play off coverage of him because they don't want to get beat deep. But he's a special player, can run every route in the route tree.
6 catches, 77 yards for Judy. Here's Najee Harris, who had an explosive run in the first half. Picks up 7 on this carry.
And now you see the run game start to pick up. You throw the football down the field a little bit, you start to create these explosive plays, and now the defense starts to back off a little bit. And now you start popping some of these runs that, quite frankly, were not going or not popping in the first half at least.
Alabama's only rushed for 74 yards today. Tua over the middle, pass is caught. Ruggs turns and falls inside the 15. Give him 15 yards on that catch, and Tua's numbers now up to 341 yards through the air.
It's just the subtle things he does inside the pocket. Watch how he moves here to the left just a little bit to find the throwing lane and finish that throw. That's what a lot of quarterbacks fight with, is once you move a little bit and still being able to be accurate with the football. Tua shows that he has all the tools and why he's one of the more talked about quarterbacks in the entire country.
Will throw again. Tua. He will try to run for it. He's inside the 5 and he falls down to the 2-yard line. I know everybody here takes a deep breath, but I mean, he's a competitor and wanted the touchdown.
Yeah, it's tough as a quarterback to not to fight for those yards when you see the goal line, but you can put to rest anything about that knee.
Tua on a quarterback keeper. Let's see if they will give him the touchdown, and they do.
Tua did a little bit of everything on that drive. We talk about being accurate, throwing the football all over the field, distributed to a lot of his playmakers. And the last 2 plays is just indicative of what else he can bring to this offense with his legs. And it looks like he gets an extra push from Najee Harris right there just to make sure he is in the end zone, and you can see him clearly in.
Pretty good day for Tua. 18 of 22, 340 and 3 touchdowns, and now a rushing touchdown. 37 yards on 4 carries for Tua as well. He also picks up his 4th 300-yard game, which is the new Alabama single-season record. Alabama now in control here late in the 3rd, and we have an opportunity to get back to the studio. Peter, what's going on? Mississippi State still a chance to pick up 8 wins.
A lot of talent on that team. That's one team that you like to watch, especially what they do on defense. And Fitz is dangerous as anybody, running and throwing.
Well, here Alabama's had 3 second-half possessions, and they have scored 3 touchdowns on those possessions. Now I guess the question is, will that be it for Tua today?
I would probably say yes.
It's the Iron Bowl next week, and then after that, the SEC title game with the Georgia Bulldogs. Raleigh Webb back deep. That'll sail into the end zone. Coming up at 4 o'clock Eastern. College football continues right here on the SEC Network. 5th-ranked Georgia hosting UMass. Then Ole Miss will head to Vanderbilt at 7:30. That's our SEC Saturday night matchup. The SEC Network alternate channel will have Liberty at Auburn at 4, and then Chattanooga versus South Carolina at 7:30. Of course, all those games streaming live on the ESPN app. It should be your best friend. Look at our SEC slate today. Missouri and Tennessee coming up 3:30 Eastern time. The game that kind of intrigues me a little bit as Rainey is stopped is UAB and Texas A&M.
Yeah, UAB is they're a team that's playing really well. I think on both sides of the ball. I've seen a little bit of them this season, and Texas A&M, it's not going to be a walk in the park as many people may think.
You know, and there's been a story came out a few years back. Jimbo Fisher was close to taking that UAB job. Now he gets to face Bill Clark's group, who's putting on quite the show, one of the better defenses in the country. 2nd down and 10 for the Citadel. They just have not been able to do anything offensively here in the second half. They'll go with Clay Harris, a freshman they're excited about. He'll pick up 5. Clay, a Norcross High School product in Atlanta, Georgia.
And there was an extra pep in their step this week. We talked to Coach Brent Thompson about his team being able to come and play the #1 team in the country. And they talked about how they already knew the roster before the game plan even started. And they had guys picked out who they wanted to play against. So They knew exactly what to expect coming into this ball game.
Well, this is the third time in the last 5 years the Citadel has faced a defending national champ. It was Florida State in 14. It was Clemson last year, and now Alabama here in 2018. Third quarter's in the books. It belonged to Alabama big time. Well, the machine wasn't working to full capacity in the first half, but the machine is back, facing the Citadel team on third down, and Rainey could not pick it up. They are now 0 for 4 on third down conversions here in the second half. As you look at our game summary, we were tied at 10 at the break. And matter of fact, the Citadel had a chance to take the lead in the second half, but missed a field goal attempt. And then Alabama just stepped on the gas. And they have scored 27 unanswered. Tagovailoa just another crisp afternoon at quarterback, 18 of 22, 340.
And Dave, I think a big difference with what you just talked about was the fact that they're 0 for in the second half on third down as the Citadel. In the first half, they were 5 of 9. So the execution hasn't been there for them in the second half here.
Boy, good high kick. Waddle back to return, lets it hit at the 10, and it goes into the end zone. So with that, Alabama will have the football, but we'll be back in 10 seconds after this message from Academy Sports and Outdoors.
Good form.
Thanks. I learned from my dad.
Nice.
How am I going to wrap this?
So I hope she catches something.
I know, right?
Well, as we thought we might see, here is Jalen Hurts. It has been a while since Jalen has been on the field. The crowd loving the side of number 2. Coach said at some point we got to get him in there, figure out what he's physically able to do, and listen to the crowd. This is awesome.
And here's the thing, you mentioned it, Dave. You got Auburn coming here next week. You got the SEC championship game. The chance you need him, he needs some real game reps.
First play, what do you know? They roll him out a little too far in front of Jerry Jeudy.
And this is why you get him in some game action. You know he's a little rusty. He hasn't played in a few weeks. And you get him a chance to get on the edge, and you try to knock some of that rust off. And that's a play he usually will hit. He's wide open on the outside. It's a difference from throwing it around in practice to getting out here in live action.
He's completed almost 74% of his passes, 5 touchdowns, couple of picks this year. He's rushed 28 times for a $136. Line up in the pistol formation. He'll hand it off to Damian Harris. Cut back. Damian in the open field. It's now a foot race. To the 20 and chased down inside the 10-yard line. They will spot him at the 7. And Harris is slow to get up after the 73-yard trot.
Yeah, he took a bang as he got tackled to the turf there. Ronald Peterkin, as he tries to run him down, he takes a really, really hard fall as he hits the ground and ends that play.
While they attend to Damian, we will step aside and come back to Tuscaloosa right after this. It's overblown. And I'll tell you what, that was a dangerous looking play on Damian Harris as he breaks free for 73 yards. But at the tail end of the play, just watch his head as it gets slammed to the turf. And he rolls over and doesn't move. Staff got to him quickly. He's sitting up now, as you just saw. But, I mean, there is a lot of force being driven into that turf. And he is up on his feet. And, I mean, that is a scary thing. Coach Saban even comes across the field to check on Damian, who I've had a chance to be around. And he's a guy that you want to be around him. He is a class act in every way possible. Young man took a lot of grief when he left the state of Kentucky to come to Alabama. A lot of people felt he should go play for Kentucky. We talked about it a few years ago, how things got just a little bit out of hand in the recruiting process. But you just spend any time with him, it's hard not to just want to be around him.
And that's why his teammates, you saw every single one of them practically come out, and they're just glad to see one of their brothers come off the field and come off with that kind of energy. And it's good to see that he's okay, but he's a leader for this Alabama team.
Here's Hurts on the run, bad ankle and all, will throw to the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama. Jalen Hurts looking fine as he hits Devontae Smith in the end zone.
But Dave, you can see that ankle's not all the way 100%, but he does do a great job of getting outside and escaping, and he's putting all the talks to rest about what he can do. But Devontae Smith coming up with a huge catch. But watch him continue to keep his eyes down the field, and he gets outside the pocket, and the threat that he can run brings up the defenders and then throws an accurate ball to Devontae Smith for the touchdown.
It may not be 100%, but it certainly looks good enough. Another extra point. This can be returned for 2. See what they do here. It's a foot race. Bowers thrown out of bounds by Bulovas, who has now missed 2 extra points today. That's the second one that's been blocked this year. But it has been a struggle in that department. That is now 8 missed extra points as a team this year for the Crimson Tide. But they do pick up 6 more. Jalen Hurts to the end zone. Touchdown, Alabama, and they are now rolling.
Network Football is presented by Allstate, reminding you that football season is mayhem.
Well, the second half has certainly been mayhem for this Alabama team, trying to chase down back-to-back titles. Well, they'll do the rest of this afternoon without Damian Harris, who heads back into the Alabama locker room. We'll try to get an update, but a scary hit on the sideline a moment ago as his head slammed to the turf. Alabama has scored 33 unanswered points. Last 4 drives, 4 touchdowns. Only problem has been the missed extra points. One missed, hit the upright, and the last one was blocked. And we saw Coach Saban talking to Bulovas during that last time out. He spent quite a few minutes, I guess, trying to get some answers.
And if you're, when you look at Alabama, you look at all the strengths they have, and you try to find something that they don't do well. They're struggling in that department right now.
Clay Harris with another carry. That's out to the 29. Give him 4 yards. And it has become quite apparent that here in the second half, and you saw a little bit of it toward the end of the first half, is Alabama just getting comfortable on assignment football, trying to play this Citadel option.
And that's what half the issue is. It's alignment first, getting lined up, everybody in their right gaps, and then it's assignment. Who has what is the end result of you coming out with a pretty good play, or them coming up with a bigger one.
Coach Saban talked a little bit about this is such a difficult week now, and he was talking about trying to play an option team, etc. And I just kind of flippantly said, so why did you schedule him? He says, well, when we put this on the books, they weren't playing this type of offense. And it is what it is. But he says it's hard this week to make sure that everybody, because he preaches all the time, everybody gets better, because you kind of have to reinvent the wheel a little bit.
And for this defense, it's all about their eyes and where they go with this offense.
There goes Rainey, turns the corner. He'll pick up 3, and that'll be enough to move the chains. Quinnen Williams with another tackle. That is 6 of those for the 290-pounder who came here at about 250 pounds, and they have worked him into a beast in the middle.
And we talked to Ross Peerberger about blocking him every single day in practice, and he sometimes says, he looks over at coach and says, what do you want me to do? This guy has everything in his arsenal, and when he watches other teams play against him, he says he just nods his head and says, I feel bad for the other team center.
Dive play inside handoff goes to Clay Harris. He'll pick up 3. Let's go downstairs to Dawn.
Dave, DJ, you guys talking about Quinnen Williams. I talked to a scout who spent 19 seasons in the NFL, and he pointed out that he has seemed to have grown into his frame, figured it all out. A lot of that is in his strength this year, and he pointed out his ability to get offensive linemen's hands off him quickly, his phenomenal balance and body control. So think same class of footwork and balance as Aaron Donald, but just bigger. How about that? He said he's going to be real successful at the next level.
And we're getting word that perhaps he'll move up a few slots in the next Todd McShay draft board. And now Deontay Thompson, who was on that list, by the way, is slow to get up as he kind of hobbles away. Talked to Deontay for a while yesterday. What a great conversation with him. Kind of taking it on his own to really be a leader on that back end, but he is in some pain.
Yeah, he's been the vocal leader for him on the back end for most of this season, and you can see the agonizing pain he's in. And well, this is a offense that gets to the secondary. They'll cut you on the secondary level as well. But he is one of their best players on the back end that gets him going, and he's got a forced fumble as well. And there he is right here. And you see Diamond right at the front of that knee, and they'll cut you 10, 15 yards down the field.
As he heads into the tent on third down and short, Rainey turns the corner, and he'll have enough. Or it looks like they're going to spot it right at the line to gain. Give Rainey a couple of yards. How about Citadel has not thrown the football today? They tried one time, and Rainey got sacked by who else but Quinnen Williams. Brent Thompson, his third year at the Citadel. Of course, he was the offensive coordinator in 2015 when this team beat South Carolina over in Columbia. They'll head back home and have one more game after this one. They take on Charleston Southern, which is a makeup game when a hurricane postponed that one in the middle of the year. Rainey, he falls across the midfield stripe, and he'll pick up 8. Tripped up by McKinney.
Yeah, if it wasn't for McKinney, that might have been another long play for the Citadel. But we've seen times in this ball game where they've had a couple creases, and they've done a great job of sealing those guys up front and forcing those secondary players to make the tackle. And we see for the most part those secondary guys play about 8 to 10 yards away from that line of scrimmage, trying to get up there and help in the run game.
And a flag comes out. Citadel has been
false start on the offense, number 22. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
They've been in a hurry offensively a few times today. Let's go downstairs to Dawn.
Guys, you were talking about quarterback Brandon Rainey. I've been really impressed with him all game long. It is hard to believe that this is just his third start with the way he's handling himself on the sideline with his teammates. He is a energy-creating machine. I tell you that. And he's a team guy. I mean, he comes in as a quarterback, plays fullback for the team last year, now back to quarterback this year, fluctuated weight in these 3 years. He will do whatever it takes for this team to win, and I'm really impressed with his leadership here on the sideline.
Yeah, you know, he's just a ball player. I mean, he played wide receiver as a junior in high school, and then his senior year, they make him a quarterback and led him to a state title. And similar type situation here, as you mentioned, he came as quarterback, then running back, now back at a quarterback. But a guy that's willing to do whatever it takes.
Yeah, he's one of those steady, Coach called it, grinded out players. He's always falling forward. He's always fighting for extra yards and going against one of the top defenses in the country. I thought he's played really hard, and he's been a tough player to tackle today.
He will try to throw here, going deep down the middle, and just overthrows his intended target, Raleigh Webb. Who has a couple of touchdown catches this season. It's their first attempt. You know, they threw one pass against Western Carolina, which was a Citadel record for fewest pass attempts in a game. So third down and long. Citadel wants a timeout, and they'll get it. 8:26 to go. Alabama just cruising along here. When we come back, we will ask DJ who he thinks the SEC's Offensive Player of the Year is. Alabama, 33 unanswered points as we sit with 8:26 to go in the contest. Time of the year we start figuring out who the players of the year are, and I asked you, I said, let's figure out who your SEC Offensive Player of the Year is.
Well, we've seen Tua today. We know what he's all about and all the numbers and how special he's been. But there's another guy, Georgia, DeAndre Swift, who's put up some big numbers, especially the last 3 weeks. He's got over 800 yards and averaging 6.9 a carry, 8 touchdowns.
I'm going to ask you who the winner is in a moment. But you narrowed it down to those two guys, though.
Yes, sir.
You sure about that? Now, is your winner one of those two guys?
My winner may surprise you.
Yeah.
But it's Tua.
Yeah, I'm not shocked. And the shocked or not shocked, that's a not shocked.
You're not shocked. I mean, what he's done on a weekly basis, and you talked about it.
Yeah.
Half the time, he's not even played in the fourth quarter, over half.
Only one time this year he's played in the fourth quarter.
But he has really taken this team to new heights on the offensive side of the ball.
The Citadel lining up from the Alabama 45 and going to go for it on 4th down and let's call it 6. And the Citadel will take another timeout.
Citadel.
You know, today Tua with another 300-yard game. He also added 3 touchdowns, 1 rushing, and I mean, it's just crazy. 31-2 touchdowns to interceptions. And here's what it looked like today.
He just has the innate ability to put the ball in the right spots, and we talk about the accuracy on the year, and he's got some playmakers on the outside that make plays for him. Herb Smith, we saw here, is tight end, who doesn't get a lot of the credit, but is a very, very good player in his own right. But Tua Tagovailoa is one of the premier players in the country and has done it every single week this year and shown what he looked like in that national championship game has definitely just transferred over onto this season.
I mean, obviously he's a front runner for a Heisman, I would believe. I mean, is he that in your eyes?
Oh, absolutely. Him and Kyler Murray are at the top.
On 4th down, there's the pitch, turn the corner. There goes Dante Smith again. The second time. Is this 44 yards? His first one was 45 yards. A breakdown again by Alabama, and the Citadel takes it to the house on 4th down and 6.
And you can see the seal blocks on this play at the end of on the right side. You're going to see come around. Who's on pitch man? Nobody has pitch man, and there is the key block on the edge. Losing contains the safety coming out inside, outside. Savion Smith on the outside as well, not fighting to get back inside. That's 2 times Savion Smith on his side has been a culprit of that particular play. He has to do a better job of fighting all those blocks.
Well, a lot of people moving around. Flag comes in.
Delay of game on the offense. Snapping the ball before it's ready. 5-yard penalty. It remains to try.
Trying to pick up a quick 2 points. A little too quick.
He's like, come on. He's like, he had to look like, come on. They like what they saw there. A little smile there from Coach Thompson.
Phil Math is trying to hide from the crowd, but when you're 6'4", 310, I don't think you're going to hide.
Offside on the defense, number 48. Contact. 5-yard penalty. It remains to try.
I know that Coach Saban is not real happy with that, but that was kind of funny watching him.
Try to like crawl in a little cave. I'm out of here. I'm tired.
He doesn't think it's funny, though. There have been some breakdowns in the kicking game on both sides today. Some missed extra points. That one is through the uprights. So a 43-17 game now. But the Citadel strikes twice. Dante Smith with a 45-yard touchdown run in the first half. This one goes 44. Citadel puts up 17 points, but trail big here, 43-17. Time now for our five-star play today, brought to you by Yellowwood. And this was one that kind of set things up for Alabama, gave them the separation. Irv Smith, the tight end, breaking ankles at midfield.
Dave, I know you love when the tight ends make plays. You were cheesing from ear to ear when you watch Irv Smith run. But I was too. I love to see tight ends make plays as well. And Irv Smith is at the top of the list of those in the country.
One catch, it went 68 yards, and it produced a touchdown. Ryan Robinson bringing that one out to about the 45-yard line. Let's see who we get at quarterback again. It looks like, well, happy birthday. Before I tell you, Jalen Hurts is back on the field. 8th birthday, roll tide, and yes, looks like they're going to beat the Citadel. So
looks similar to my daughter, who's 8 and missing some teeth right there.
They'll come back, and then they'll cost you a lot of money. Let me just tell you that. How about this number? First time in Alabama history where the offense has gained 500-plus yards in 10 games. It's a new day for Alabama football with this offense. My goodness. Najee Harris on that carry, gain of 3. Now, we told you about the offensive player who DJ thinks is the winner there. Well, how about on the defensive side?
Yeah, this was tough here. Devin White and Josh Allen, 2 players. If you take off that defense, I don't think they're as good. But both of them are dynamic players. And Devin White, sideline to sideline player. Josh Allen is a sack machine in his own right.
All right, well, in a moment we will
drum roll,
figure out who your winner is. Here's Hurts, drop backs coming near side, and passes caught there by Waddle. So who is your winner as defensive player of the year in this league?
Josh Allen. Josh Allen, I mean, you watch him on film, and each week, regardless of the opponent, he makes his presence known. He's one of those type of players you have to game plan for. Coming off the edge, he can play inside, outside. He will be a Sunday player, and I know scouts are drooling over what he has done this season.
He has been something to watch. I mean, just every time he's on the field, you're waiting for him to do something amazing. Najee Harris running hard. And speaking of Kentucky, let's get an update with Peter in the studio. Josh must have been listening to DJ.
No doubt. I mean, PB coming through the clutch Josh Allen sack. We couldn't time that up any better.
Near side pass caught by Ruggs. He'll spin out of bounds. Gain of 7. Alabama, again, they've rushed for 174. They have thrown for 372. They've run 43 plays. Citadel's run 56 today. But, you know, as we told you, offensive coordinator Michael Oxley was talking to us, you know, he game plans for like an 80-play game.
Yeah.
Well, they are far from that number. Little pump fake. Hurts to the end zone, and Judy got caught up in some traffic, and a flag comes out. That would have been 6, I think, had Judy not been twisted in his route.
Yeah, I think they're going to get Ronald Peterkin for it. The safety gets caught looking in the backfield and kind of a little double move on the inside. And he tugs him just a little bit so he doesn't walk into the end zone for a touchdown.
Pass interference on the defense, number 33. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul. Automatic first down.
And with that, Mack Brown takes over for Jalen Hurts. Coach Saban walks out to the numbers and shakes the hand of Jalen Hurts. And Mac Jones, who has seen quite a bit of time this year. He's played in 8 games, holds on kicks, as well as has been forced into action while Hurts has been out with an injury. Will hand it off to Brian Robinson. And Robinson will pick up 3. Mac Jones, a redshirt freshman, 5 of 13 through the air.
Mac Jones comes in here with a through the same year as Tua was when he got in here, and was a Kentucky commit at first and ended up flipping to Alabama. Part of the Elite 11 at Nike Open. He's a pretty established quarterback in his own right.
Yeah, 4-star quarterback coming out of high school. Was the 18th ranked pro-style QB. Hands it off to Robinson. That'll be a touchdown from 2 yards out. His second touchdown of the year for the sophomore from right here in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
More of the scene what Alabama expected coming to this ball game, and the adjustment from one half to the next is what Alabama will definitely point to, but second half has definitely been overrun by this Alabama Crimson Tide.
So there is a change as Austin Jones will attempt this point after. Austin kicking earlier this year. He's 7 out of 10 in point afters, actually make him 8 out of 11 now. Of course, coming up next week, it is the Iron Bowl. Yet another edition. And this was the scene in Auburn last year as Jalen Hurts did his best to keep Alabama in the game. Bo Scarborough with a touchdown, but it was Jarrett Stidham who seals it for the Tigers, who stormed the field and put themselves in a position to play for an SEC championship last year against the Georgia Bulldogs as they win at 26-14. But the 83rd meeting coming up right here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. And of course, Auburn kind of like a wounded dog a little bit right now. You know that they're going to leave nothing in the tank when they come here.
And as rivalry games go, that goes out the window, the records, the rankings go out the window. It'll be a rocking environment here next week for the Iron Bowl.
Raleigh Webb on the return, and a good one out close to the 40-yard line. Monday at 7 o'clock Eastern, it's don't forget, thinking out loud, got the wrong card handed to me. Here's what's coming up next. UMass and Georgia, 4 o'clock, Liberty and Auburn, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, Chattanooga and South Carolina on the alternate channel. So a lot of football right here on the SEC network today. Of course, all those games streaming live on the ESPN app. Vanderbilt, boy, they have had some hard luck losses this year.
Last minute, like last quarter, collapses. They could be a lot better than their record states.
There's a pitch. Nowhere to go. Dante Smith this time wrapped up by Keaton Anderson, who's in there for Deontay Thompson. I think a lot of guys came into this game for Alabama hoping that they would get significant snaps, but just by virtue of the fact it was 10-10 at halftime. Not so much. Flag on the play, by the way. Wait for the call here.
After the play was over, unsportsmanlike conduct on the defense, number 40. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. That is number 40's first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the game.
Joshua McMillan. We'll get to hear from Coach Saban. Rainey Airmails everybody on that one. It'll be second down coming up for the Citadel. Let's go downstairs, check in with Dawn.
Yeah, guys, Alabama has dealt with some injuries. They have 3 starters in the locker room right now, done for the game with those injuries. Right guard Alex Leatherwood, an upper body injury. Safety Deontay Thompson, his was a knee injury. He was in some serious pain down here. And then, of course, running back Damian Harris, also in the locker room for Alabama.
Well, here's the pitch. Dawn off the right side. Sessions, the same play that's hit Alabama for 2 touchdowns of over 40 yards. That one will pick up the first down.
Got a late flag coming in, but Dave, it's been to that right side every single time, and looks like it may come back from a holding call. But that has been the Achilles heel for Alabama's defense today.
Personal foul. Illegal hands to the face on the offense, number 22. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run. Replay, second down.
Right at the top of your screen, fighting right there. A little push at the top, and they got him for the one that he did initially. They've had success running that option to the right side with the pitch.
Citadel playing in front of, it'll be close to 100,000. Their largest crowd they played in front of this year is 11,000. Inside handoff on second down. Goes to Barry, not much there.
Don talked about some of those injuries. That's what one of the things you have to worry about playing in a ball game where they do some cutting and things aren't really what you're used to playing against, which is unconventional. But hopefully those guys are all right and able to play next week, and of course playing in that championship game.
So under 3 minutes to go and a third down coming up for the Citadel. Little counter play goes to Sessions. He'll pick up 3. Well, it's probably a 2-down situation here to try to pick up the first down. And the offense will stay on the field. You know, if you're Nick Saban, certainly this is one of those games where your team, you're certainly going to walk out of here and you have a lot you can talk to your guys about, make sure that they stay focused. Not that they need any extra for Auburn, but you can certainly get their attention tomorrow.
Yeah, you turn on the film and watch some of the big plays they gave up today, and the lack of execution on certain plays. Definitely be something to work on.
Smith can't pick it up. There is a flag down, so we'll wait a moment and see what this is about.
After the play was over, personal foul against Alabama, number 9. 15-yard penalty. Since the foul occurred after the play, it will be first down, Alabama.
Had a couple of those on this drive. Guys fighting back on the back end and just fighting for position, and you get some unfortunate calls. And we talk about things to work on. Coach Saban is going to be really, really angry with some of these late penalties that they've had to end this ball game.
It's all about discipline.
And that's a good point. I mean, you talk about playing Auburn next week in a rivalry game where obviously they have some really good athletes on that team. SEC championship game, those type of penalties will lose ball games for you.
Alabama will get the football as Mac Jones still in there at quarterback. The third one used today. Jalen Hurts getting some snaps. Ronnie Clark will pick up 6. Alabama up to 50 points again. 7th time this year they have gone 50 or more.
That's one thing that, over the years, when you think about Alabama, you think defense. Now, this team has it on both sides of the ball.
Alabama still #1 in the college football playoff rankings. Question is, can Notre Dame hang on and stay undefeated? Michigan playing great football right now. Ohio State comes in at #10, but they are tied right now at Maryland, 31-31. They were down 17-3 early in that game, so they have kind of fought back.
Yeah, and everybody was talking about the big matchup next week with Michigan and Ohio State. Ohio State's not able to pull that game out. Some of the lore of that game is taken away.
3rd down and short. Handoff inside. Goes to Clark. He'll pick up 5. And they'll keep the clocks moving. Alabama perhaps one more snap and call it a day and get out of here. What was a shocking story in the first half. A 10-10 tie with the Citadel. An FCS team that came in here certainly with 63 scholarships as FCS teams go. Enrollment of 2,300. 4-5 on the year, but gave Alabama all they wanted. And the Tide came out, though, in the 3rd quarter and put it into that. And they will win this one 50-17. And they go to 11-0. And the first half wasn't pretty, but I think the second half really Alabama found their rhythm offensively. And, of course, I think for the most part figured out how to defend this option game of the Bulldogs.
That was the key. Execution, details on defense, and offensively get back into that rhythm. And that young man right there, Tua Tagovailoa, played his heart out and continue to strive and play with exception.
Let's go down to Dawn.
Thank you, guys. Coach Saban looked like a completely different team offensively in the second half. What changed?
Well, I just think we executed and focused on what we needed to do. Finished some runs, finished some plays, threw the ball more effectively. Didn't turn the ball over after the first play of the second half. So I was really pleased with the way the guys responded in the second half.
Now you get ready for rivalry week. What do you take from this game and tell your team from this game as you get ready for Auburn?
Well, I think the big lesson to be learned is when you're not ready to play, things don't happen, whether you didn't prepare correctly or when you come out here and you don't have the right mindset. So, hopefully we'll be able to, continue to learn and grow and improve as a team and understand how important that is.
Thank you, Coach. Congrats.
Thank you.
Well, he's happy with the win, obviously, but certainly he'll have some things to talk to with his club. Matter of fact, speaking of Coach Saban talking, we will have plenty of his postgame coming up in just a bit. But the final score from here in Tuscaloosa, 50-17. We'll come back, have more from the capstone. But first, let's head to the studio and Peter Burns.